let's talk next about like what happened. Like, how did we get from there to War for Bryndor, and kind of like what took so long, I guess, because like we haven't done a podcast in 3 years, I think, or 4 years, something ridiculous.
Well, there was a pandemic in there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really, I think it was on you. I think you essentially came to the realization that it wasn't going to get done in the time that you wanted it to get done in. And so we had some hard conversations about whether or not we should continue, in what form, if we should continue. And essentially what we came down to is that this project wasn't going to be it.
Yeah.
So then, you know, you went away and came back with this idea.
I had so a few things that happened. One, we were working with my cousin, and he had some opportunities to go work with a startup, which he took, and I like, that's great. He's doing well, but it meant that we had one less person working, so we had to account for that. And during that time, like, I got a different job working in like actual animation and graphics, and it was a great job, and I learned a ton, and it really set the stage for a lot of what we're doing now. And the other part is, you know, I worked there for a little while, and then had the opportunity to do contracting, which paid me very well, because I was in my other professional stuff, I could pay myself very well. And so I was able to quit my full-time job, and I still have to do contracting, but for the last 3 years, I've been making, instead of having, because I've always done contracting, so I had a full-time job, contracting, and then I was also trying to make a game. And largely, a lot of that was because I was still in student debt.
Yeah.
And so once I paid that off, then I can get by on just my contracting, and I only have to do that half time. And sometimes I'll go for a couple months where I won't touch it, and it still pays my bills for the year. So in terms of the amount of time I can put in is way higher, right? Like, so at that point it was like, okay, let's make I think about 3 years ago, we're like, let's make a go at this, and, you know, got rid of the debt, take the contracting to pay the bills, and spending like 75% of my time on game development, coupled with better skills just naturally from programming more, and my previous job with animation and art, which leveled me up in a big way. And all of a sudden, and Kelsey was able to also do the same thing, get debt free, and he's got a part-time job now, so he's leveraging, I think he worked 2 days a week, every alternate week, and 3 days in the rest. So he's got way more time to work on things. You have more time. What?
I do not have more time.
No, you don't. You're you are not great.
I'm screwed.
Yeah. So,
but I'm fitting it in.
but the flip side is that in the previous game, I didn't touch art at all.
Well, and in the previous game, yes, there was a lot of art assets that were requiring skills that I didn't have, because they should have been digital instead of traditional. And this game requires way less than Sunset required. Like Sunset, it was like 250 pieces. It was a lot.
We had like 100 characters.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We had tons of menus. We had all those, remember all the events.
Yes.
We had it was huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and War for Bryndor was intentionally art light.
Yes.
We were like, what can we do here? And I think it looks flipping awesome.
Well, it's great because it allows me to actually spend more time on the pieces, which make them better. And we have quality over quantity now, which I think is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess now we've kind of touched on it, but we're basically segueing into War for Bryndor and what's different now. When it went down, Sunset of Leivnos, we had got to the point where we were just incredibly busy.
Yes.
Like, that's part of why we made that realization. It's like, what, with our level right now, we just can't do it. And so it was kind of like, do we want to make like a closing podcast where we just say goodbye, everyone? Like, it just seemed like super morbid. And the other part is, I still had hope, right? Like, I was like, okay, we're going to take a hiatus here, and we're going to come back at this, right? And I always did have that hope. I never really ever said in my head, this is over, right?
Yeah.
Because this is my dream. Like, this is what I want to do. And so I think it just naturally turned into a longer period of waiting than I thought. What's different now? Like, what has changed that, you know, you can say, hey, this isn't the same scenario. We're not the same people. And this is you know, going to happen.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying.
I guess
it's not the same scenario, and we're different people.
Right. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We have realistic expectations. We have realistic goals and achievable metrics. And this game is almost done. So we're really coming back to this from a place of being really confident that this is going to get released in the very near future.
Yeah, for me, we've got like what's on the checkmark list of things that are okay.
Yeah.
Kel, what's your top take?
Well, we're putting in the time.
Yep, absolutely.
And the other thing is, I mean, we're, I guess, trying to get out there more with more social media interaction and stuff like that. So, and then of course, I mean, it's been said before, but the skills were just better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say we've already done a game to completion. We know exactly where everything's at. And like you say, it's almost done. Like, Sunset of Leivnos never even got playable.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't sit down and play it. You can play this game right now. And it's very close, and it looks awesome. Like right now, there's like Sunset of Leivnos never had a full screenshot either. There was always some temporary art that needed to be filled in. This right now, our current state is there's nothing temporary. It's all final. You still have to put some cards in. Right. So there might, that's a slight lie. There's still some cards to be put in, but we can have screenshots that are full art, like that everything's there. And so it's playable, all the art's there, and gameplay wise, we have to tweak some AI, we have to do a bunch of things, but like we're incredibly close.
We're tweaking, we're editing, we're
not building.
We're not building. So there's a big difference between putting on finishing touches and smoothing things out and actually building things.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's kind of also part of the reason of the long period, because we were like, you know what, we're not going to do this again. We're not going to come out and talk about our game as much as I kind of want to, and I might consider going forward after we've got 2 games under our belt.
It is fun to talk about process.
And to do this with a little bit more confidence that you know what, it's going to be a process, but we're confident that we're going to get there, which I think I can safely say that we have. So I might consider that, but I wanted to make sure that for anybody who is returning to watch this from after being engaged with Sunset of Leivnos, that we were going to be 100%. Like, this is happening. So this is kind of the explanation of that. And but I want to go back really quickly and just touch. We did talk about a little things, but like War for Bryndor, like how is this the successor to Sunset of Leivnos?
Well, you've mentioned this already, in that we are reusing a lot of the assets that we created for Sunset in terms of world building, in terms of character and design, in terms of flavor. So a lot of those things are absolutely directly related to Sunset, and that has certainly quickened our ability to create this game, because we don't have to think about that stuff or design it from scratch. We've got that already.
My favorite example is we had created a banner with Natalie Ornitha, which is one of our characters in the game. And we were coming up with our list of our leaders for this game. And we were like, who do we use? And we're like, we could use, like, that piece took you a long time.
It's still good too.
It's still
like
good.
Normally as an artist I would be like, don't use old art, like it looks crappy, but
it
still looks good. So we still like it.
So it was like, why don't we put Natalie is one of our characters.
Of course,
Then we can use this in all our marketing, and we can use the portrait you did. Like, all that stuff is there. So, and the style is the same and all that kind of stuff, right?
It still uses the sort of same idea of like provinces, and you're trying to take over the place and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, like it's kind of a world conquest type of game. Yeah. So it's a different take, but on the provinces front, like, we still have stats for each province, and they are part of the strategic decision, and the art, like you say, the art style, the world, and I like to think that I'd love for this game to do good enough to be able to, like, my dream, Sunset of Leivnos for real. Of course, we changed it to War for Bryndor. Now, here's a little flavor of this, nobody could remember the word Leivnos and nobody could pronounce it. And so the litmus test was my girlfriend Katie. She couldn't remember the name of the game I was working on ever. And so when we made this, we were like, okay, let's name it something that is easier to remember. And I think she remembered it immediately. And we're like, damn
Coming up with original names and character names is not easy, guys.
Yeah. So anyways, War for Bryndor is I think memorable. At least it lands well. So if I would love to do it, but it'll be called Sunset over Bryndor. And I would if this game does good enough, oh man, it would be a juicy treat to be able to go back, because I believe you were saying it just the other day that now if we had to do it, I don't think it would be a problem.
Yeah, I think it's more doable now. We're just better, right?
Well, and I think there's something to be said of compartmentalizing things and breaking them down. And if War for Bryndor becomes a series that are all connected to each other, that would also be great. I mean, it doesn't have to be one thing.
No.
So, and I feel like our world is robust enough that we could do that. And we would have content.
We wrote a novel.
We would have content forever.
We had a prequel novel that we wrote in this world.
We did.
And some of the podcasts talk about it and stuff. And like we have history. We've got characters. We've got like all these crazy things.
That's
in that
why
world.
I said like that is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
I'm still really enthusiastic about all of that storytelling.
I mean, we could make War for Bryndor 2 or Sunset over Bryndor. And both of those would be kind of diverging paths, and they would explore the world even more. And so there's obviously some potential there. And yeah, I mean, I'm just excited about this world and stuff, which is why I didn't want to do another. We could have just made another game entirely, but I like the world and I like the style of gameplay. And so when I said, hey, I think we're ready to take another look at this. It was definitely a reworking intentionally, because Sunset of Leivnos, especially at that time, was still too big of a beast. But we didn't want to throw it all out. We'd spend a lot of time there, and so I think War for Bryndor is enough of a spiritual successor that you're going to feel the same feeling. It's still a strategy game. It's still got the characters. It's still got the style. And like you say, a lot of the things might not be there, but they've informed it.
Yes.
And I think that's that kind of Tolkien-esque. You get a sense of history even if it's not presented.
Yes.
So anyways, that's where we're at with War for Bryndor. It's we haven't really said when we're going to release it, but it's close. Like, we're not very far away.
I guess one other note too actually is for this game, like we wanted to be sort of strategy game, but like you play romance and it's like 3 hours or something. And like not everyone has a chance to sit down and play 30 hours. So this game you can sit down and play it.
Right.
And it's quicker games, and we did that on purpose because of that reason, right?
Yeah, because we got busy in life and we were like, I love strategy games, but what do you do? Like, the tutorial for some of these games is hours and hours. It's like, I want to sit down and get into it. So yeah, like our inspiration part of this was like flash games of the early 2000s, like games that you can sit down, play for half an hour, and then they're fun. You're going to come back to it over and over, and then you might get bored of it, but you'll come back next year because it's just like, man, I really want to play that again. And that's the type of game. It's a sit down and play strategy game. So
well, and I think that's one of the really big pluses, one of the really big assets of this game, and combining it with the flavor and the world building that we did for Sunset, in that it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. It doesn't matter what inspiration we took to create it. It doesn't matter in the future if it's completely different. They're going to be related to each other, and they're going to be fun. And you're going to be able to engage in that storytelling like we have. So I think that's a massive plus.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, the game right now, I'm incredibly excited about. It doesn't happen to me very often where I gush over my own work, but I'm just so excited. Like, things are coming together right now, and it feels like Sunset of Leivnos is kind of like feels like years, over a decade worth of work is kind of finally coming to fruition, and I hope that I'm gonna go out to some, because we still have the Sunset of Leivnos Facebook group, we still have these things. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna tell you guys, come and watch this video, see where we're at, and if you were interested in Sunset of Leivnos, you're gonna like this game, and so I'm really excited about it. And right now we're really just trying to get it out there, because again, we talked about not doing marketing enough, right?
We weren't visible,
we did the
sure.
podcasting and stuff, but we didn't really get out there enough. And part of it was because we just didn't have anything to show, right? Like, what are you going to show? Temporary art? Nobody's going to get excited about temp art, right? So, but we're now there with, final looking graphics, and it's looking cool. And so, I'm just super excited about it, and I can't wait to get. I really hope that somebody who was interested in Sunset of Leivnos sees it and is like, there it is.
Well, I think we've said it. If you were interested in Sunset,
Yeah.
you'll be interested in this game.
So I guess we'll wrap it up there for today. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned. Keep a look at our social, and we're on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and just about all the stuff. So we're pretty easy to find, but from this point, for the next couple months, we're going to be dumping updates about the game, and we're going to do a few more podcasts, and we're going to really kind of celebrate the final stretch here as we get this game out. So thanks again. Hope you have a good day, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.